The character that has often been slept on, Spectro Rover, has now been relevant in meta as he is essential in Phoebe teams due to the small buff he received in 2.1, where he could apply Spectro Frazzle. Even though the Phoebe teams are mostly being talked about, he can be used in many different teams. He can provide many other utilities while dealing some really nice personal damage. In this video, I will cover everything you need to know about Spectro Rover, including his kit, sequences, weapons, echoes, teams, rotations, and more. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Before starting with his kit, let me quickly explain what Spectro Frazzle is. Spectro Frazzle is a debuff that is stackable. While Spectro Frazzle effect lasts, the number of its stacks is periodically reduced by 1 to deal Spectro damage to the target. And as the stacks accumulate, the damage from Spectro Frazzle effect increases significantly. The damage from Spectro Frazzle is not influenced by crit or attack of the resonator. It depends on the number of Spectro Frazzle stacks and the level of the resonator. His Forte circuit is divided in 2 parts. Spectro Rover consumes 1/2 in order to enhance his resonance skill. He can fill his Forte circuit by using normal attacks, which includes basic attacks, dodge counters, heavy attacks, or intro skills, or more efficiently by using a special heavy attack called Heavy Attack Aftertune. Heavy Attack Aftertune can be performed by pressing the basic attack twice after using a heavy attack, or by doing a basic attack after a dodge counter, or by performing a heavy attack and a basic attack after his basic attack stage 3, which is not convenient, so it is never used. Intro skills and Aftertune each restore half of his Forte gauge, which means that he will face no problems charging the gauge up to enhance his every resonance skill. There are times where we cannot get an intro on him, so the Heavy Attack Aftertune is the true savior. His enhanced resonance skill, called Resonating Spin, not only deals more damage but also applies 2 stacks of Spectro Frazzle. It also spawns an extra whirling attack around Spectro Rover for even more damage. This attack also applies the shimmer effect to enemies hit, which prevents any Spectro Frazzle stacks from diminishing for 9 seconds while still doing damage normally. This is really helpful for Phoebe, as you need to have 10 Spectro Frazzle stacks before switching into her. After doing the enhanced skill, following it up with a basic attack will launch another attack called Resonating Echoes, which surprisingly deals good damage, as its damage is increased by 60% due to his first inherent skill. This damage is considered as resonance skill damage. His Resonance Liberation has some really high multipliers and applies 6 Spectro Frazzle stacks, which is amazing and very essential to reach 10 stacks of Spectro Frazzle, which is required. His Outrow skill creates an area that slows down the enemies for 3 seconds. Although it is not a direct damage buff, which kind of sucks, but it can be very useful, especially to execute some combos that might be difficult to do against aggressive bosses. The second inherent skill gives him 15% attack increase for 5 seconds after casting Heavy Attack Resonance. Heavy Attack Resonance is automatically casted while doing the Heavy Attack Aftertune, so don't worry too much about it. Let's also quickly go over his sequences, as Spectro Rover is incomplete without them. The first sequence is really good. It gives him 15% crit rate for 7 seconds after using his resonance skill. The second sequence gives him 20% Spectro damage bonus. The third one gives 20% energy regen, which fulfills his energy requirements. The fourth sequence is one of the biggest upgrades. It gives team-wide heals on using his Liberation. This may not seem much, but it lets him use the Rejuvenating Glow set. S5 gives 40% Liberation damage bonus, which is a nice damage increase. And the S6 decreases enemies' Spectro resistance by 10% for 20 seconds. This is really good, as it increases his personal damage as well as increase the damage of another Spectro DPS if you have in your team. For his talent priority, his Liberation and Forte takes the top priority, followed by basic attacks and intro skill, which can be neglected unless you wish to min-max his damage. Moving on to his weapons. Since a good portion of Rover's damage is from his resonance skill, Chongli's weapon, Blazing Brilliance, is the best for him. That being said, Emerald of Genesis is not far behind Chongli's weapon, and going further in the game, you can pull for its duplicates as well. Camellia's signature, Red Spring, is also a good option. It should be around 2% better than the Emerald of Genesis, but it's not worth to use it on him as the passive is wasted. Now for his 4-star options, the Somnoir Anchor might seem like a good choice, but it has a big ramp-up time, and Spectro Rover's on-field time is not that high. So I wouldn't recommend using it on him. The Lunar Cutter, Endless Collapse, and Commando of Conviction are 3 of his best 4-star options. The Commando of Conviction's performance depends on whether you can get an intro on the Rover or not. If you cannot, its performance drops significantly. Lumen Gloss is another decent option. You can also use the Overture if you're running a cheap build, with no damage on Rover. But Rover usually doesn't have any problem filling up his concerto bar. Before moving on to his Echo sets, let's discuss the ways we can play the Spectro Rover. There are 3 ways to play Rover. One is as a sub-DPS, other one is as a quick-swap DPS, and third one is as a sustained support. You could use him as a main DPS, but he has a downtime of 6 seconds, so playing him as a quick-swap DPS would be more beneficial. More about this in Team Comps section. Moving on to his Echoes. If you're planning to run him as a pure sub-DPS, where you get his outro and never switch back into him during the whole duration of your main DPS rotation, then the Moonlit Clouds set with Impermanence here on Echo skill is the best option. If you're using him as a quick-swap DPS, then there are 2 options. One is Eternal Radiance with Nightmare Morning X, and the other one is Celestial Light with the Jew Echo skill. Both are pretty close, with the Eternal Radiance being a better option because it provides 20% crit rate, which is massive and makes building him much easier as he already gets 15% from his sequences. If you are using him as a sustained support, you can use him with the Rejuvenating Glow set. His healing is not much, but it is good enough if you can dodge most of the enemy's attacks. For the Echo skill, you can either use the Fallacy of No Return or Bellborn. Both are pretty good. Fallacy of No Return is an overall better option as its buff lasts longer. For the Echo stats, crit on the 4-cost Echo, Spectro damage bonus on the 3-cost, and attack percent on the 1-cost. You can use a combination of 1 Spectro damage and 1 attack percent on the 3-cost. It is a worse option, but usable. Using an attack percent 3-cost Echo will also increase the healing from his sequence 4. If you are running a low investment build on him, usually with the Rejuvenating Glow set or the Moonlit Clouds set, you can just complete the set with level 0 Echoes without worrying about the stats. For his energy requirements, he only needs around 20%, which is covered by his sequences, so you don't need to worry about getting any. For Echo substats, go for crit stats. Try to get 65% plus crit rate, including the buffs you get from his sequence and Echo set. Then attack percent, flat attack, liberation damage bonus, and resonance skill damage bonus. Moving on to his team comps. Spectro Rover can be used in many teams as a sub-DPS, holding the Moonlit Cloud set as they can efficiently fill their concerto bar. He is usually used if you don't have the better options, as he doesn't provide any direct damage increase. But now with Phoebe, he is the best teammate for her. He is needed in her teams as he can apply 10 Spectro Frazzle stacks, letting Phoebe benefit from the Eternal Radiance set, and giving enough Frazzle to buff all of Phoebe's heavy attack star flashes. He can either be used as a sub-DPS or quick-swap DPS with Phoebe, and the last slot will be a sustained support like Shorekeeper or Verena. Or you can use him as the sustained support with Sanhua and Morpheus sub-DPS. I have covered his Phoebe teams and rotations in detail in this guide video. I highly recommend watching it for better understanding of their rotations. As I mentioned earlier, I don't recommend using him as main DPS as he has a 6 seconds downtime, which is his skill cooldown. So what you can do is pair him with a second DPS to swap in for that 6 seconds window and deal damage. The second DPS is usually someone with many swap cancel windows, like Changli, Encore, Shangli Yao, Calcharo, etc. Honestly speaking, Havoc Rover is better for this playstyle, but if you prefer the Spectro Rover, this works as well. Moving on to his rotations. His rotations are very simple and easy to execute. Start with a heavy attack aftertune, which is done by doing a heavy attack and 2 basic attacks. Sometimes while using this attacks, you might miss some hits, which results in less 40 stacks generated than needed. In such cases, you can make up for the remaining part with few basic attacks. Then use his resonance skill and swap cancel it by going to another character during the downtime. For his second rotation, if you can get an intro, that's nice, as it will give him half forte immediately. If you cannot get an intro, that's fine. You can fill the forte just by doing a heavy attack after tune. Use his liberation, followed by his enhanced skill, then do 2 basic attacks after the skill to cast the resonating echoes attack. If the concerto is not filled yet, you can fill the remaining part by doing basic attacks. Then outrow. Depending on the echo skill you are using, use it at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of his rotation. For Ju Echo's skill, use it at the beginning. For Nightmare Morning Ikes, use it at the middle after applying 10 Spectro Frazzle stacks, when the Rover is fully buffed. If you are using the Impermanence Heron, use it at the end when Concerto is filled, then swap cancel. Similarly for Fallacy of No Return or Bellborn, use it before you use his outro. For the Quick Swap playstyle, you basically swap into Rover to do his heavy attack after tune and enhanced resonance skill. As I mentioned earlier, I recommend you to watch this video for Phoebe's team rotations. Before we end this video, let me share some final thoughts. Spectro Rover is someone who can deal good damage while also providing sustainability to the team through healing and time slows. You can be flexible with his playstyle, as he can use many echo sets which can be used to buff his own damage or the team damage. He can fill his outrow efficiently with easy-to-use combos. As he can apply 10 Spectro Frazzle stacks easily, he is currently the core of Phoebe teams, who is currently one of the top DPS. His downsides could be his less buffing capabilities from his kit. Even for Quick Swap playstyle, the Havoc variant is better for more damage. He has a downtime of 6 seconds, which forces you to play a bit of Quick Swap, even if you don't enjoy the playstyle. Currently, he is the best in only one team, that is with Phoebe. For other teams, he is not the best option, only used if you have no other option, or if you prefer his playstyle. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Spectro Rover. And that's all for this video. Don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe for more Wuthering Waves content. Thanks for watching.